Good evening, everyone, and welcome to our self-care for mental health or mental well-being and chronic conditions. And we've got some great speakers, and we look forward to your messages in the chat room on Facebook Live. And we've got Sophia Morgan-Genus, Joan Bailey, Vasco Stevenson, Derek Clement. So Derek will be talking about hair health and how that affects our mental well-being, and also how it relates to chronic conditions. So we shall get starting with Sophia Morgan-Genus. Genius. She is a genius. She can talk about everything. And so, Sophia, let's start off with what we mean by self-care, generally speaking, first of all.
I think that's self-care is very important. You can't help others until you can take care of yourself. So it's important that we understand what's important for us. I always believe in that holistic approach. So you're looking at the physical element, which could be your diet, it could be your physical activity, it could be your physical surroundings, your environment. So what you're putting on your hair, what you're putting on your skin, these are all the physical elements that can control your stress levels, that control your well-being. We can look onto the intellectual things. So what you're watching on television, the books that you're reading, the company that you're keeping, the discussions that you're having, how stimulating is that for you? So that's important to understand on that for your part of your well-being. We move on to the emotional things. So the people that you care for in your lives, how you're being supported, what support you're giving, what support you're receiving. So that's really, really important, because if you're hanging around people that are emotionally draining, then that can have an effect on you as well. So you've got to be very important about our emotional well-being, our emotional settings, giving and receiving. We've got our social settings, your friends. They say you are the company that you keep. So it's important to look at the friends that you're keeping. If they're very negative, then you can be very negative. You can feel that energy, you can feel that spirit. So we've got to be conscious about our social gatherings and the people that we hang around, and also our spiritual element of it, our connection with a higher force, of how we perceive that kind of connection, whether we feel imbalanced and whether we feel energized. So for me, when we talk about well-being, it is that big picture, and all those elements are important, that we pay a little bit of mindfulness on all those different elements, and that helps to keep us feeling good and being well. And if something's out of sync, then it could have an effect on loads of things. So for example, if physically you're not taking care of yourself, that can take an effect on your emotional health, on your intellectual health, on your social and emotional. It can do the whole range just by one side being out of sync. So we need to look at all areas when we talk about well-being, because all are really, really important.
Great. And that's a great overview from Sophia there, to set the agenda for us for the rest of the evening. Good evening, Brother Derek.
Brother Rudy, thank you very much indeed. Sorry for being late, but there you are, and these things happen.
We understand. We understand. So Derek will be talking about hair health in a while, but I'd like to really start off with Joan Bailey and her particular initiative, which I was really impressed with. So Joan, can you just tell us a little bit about yourself, give us the background to why you started the initiative, and then just tell us the impact it has had on the participants. Thank you.
Right, so I am Joan Bailey, and I have a day job. I'm a fitness guru. So back in March, like everybody else, living, normal life, doing your thing, going to work, going to the gym, partying, doing all the stuff that we do.
Yeah.
And then lockdown was suddenly coming upon us. And none of us have been in anything like this. It was all so surreal. And I thought, when the school started to shut, and this was shutting, that was shutting. And then when the gym shut, that was the real kind of like nail in everything for me, because, oh my God, how was I going to keep myself fit and active and healthy? So working, I was doing the mad shopping like everybody else, and doing the walking, because that's all I could do as the gym was shut. And then I thought to myself, oh gosh, this really isn't any good. I've got a smart TV. I downloaded the apps on the TV. I was in my good living room doing Les Mills, boxing and all sorts. And I thought, not in my good living room. And it's lonely as well when you're training on your own like that. So I said to myself, let me try this walking, because that's all that was really available to us. So I used to walk in the evenings, and my kids were saying to me, Mum, it's a bit dark for you to be walking up and down like that. You won, you know, because obviously in March it's still winter time. So then one morning I said, right, let me just switch this thing up. And I went walking in the morning, early morning. So I left the house at about 5:30, 5:45, and it was nice. It was bright, it was peaceful, it was quiet, and there wasn't many people around, and I could safely walk. So I did that for a few weeks, and then one of my primary school friends contacted me and said, Joan, I've got blood pressure. I need to get healthy. I need to start, you know, get my activity levels up. So I said, well, all right, you can come with me. All I'm doing is walking. So she came with me for a couple of months to put a program in place for us. So we talked. And sometimes it's just about talking, you know. Sometimes when you try and tell people to do things, it doesn't work. So just by talking to them and saying, well, come on, let's try, you know, drinking more water. You know, when you go to the petrol station, don't buy those chocolate covered peanuts. Yes, resist. Yes, just come out of that habit. And it's about breaking bad habits. Break the habit, you know, let's do green days. Let's have set days to walk. So we'd walk Monday, Wednesday and Friday, because obviously we're all still trying to work as well, even though working from home. You know, look at talk about sleep, rest, etc. You know, trying to get her into a routine, so that works. But bearing in mind, as we're walking, I was seeing, you know, loads of groups. So I see like one woman walking on her own each time we're walking, and she's just on her own, like she's walking aimlessly. And you can see she's out of the house because probably she's just bored. And then you'd see like groups of 2 and 3 walking, and after a while that would dissipate. So you'd have this woman walking on her own who would stop walking because she's bored, she's lonely, she's fed up, and she just can't be bothered. Yeah. Then you'd have the group whereby there's 2 and 3 of them. They'd be walking, and one would drop off, and you know, she's not walking, everybody else is not walking. So as I'm walking, I just kept feeling in my spirit, and I'm quite a spiritual person as well. And I just kept thinking, you need to start a walking group. And I thought, start a walking group. You need to start a walking group. And I said, all right then. And then I'm talking to some of my friends. Now I love working from home. I want working from home to last forever because I just love it. Yes, I could be in my house, do my little cooking, do my gardening, do my cleaning, do my washing. So I love it. But I get it now where people say working from home is not for them. Just by talking to some of my friends, they've had a really hard time. You know, I've got a friend now, a few months ago, she was saying to me, I was working from home, and Joan, I could feel the walls were coming in on me. I thought, oh gosh, it sounded really, it kind of took me. I'm thinking, my God, what's going on here? And then another friend of mine, she was saying to me, Joan, do you know what? I wake up at 10 o'clock and I just feel like I'm going into a dark place. And I thought, oh my God, what is this? What's going on? What's that about? Going to a dark place. And more and more, you know, they were telling me how they were feeling. So I said, right, all that I am doing right now is walking. So who wants to come? So when I flung it out to my friends on the WhatsApp now, 35 of them contacted me. And out of the 35, 27 came. So to cut a long story short, I don't know how long I've got. To cut a long story short now. So out of the 27 now, so we did it for 6 weeks. And all my friends who are trainers and do fitness and line dancing, etc. So I said, right, Mary, you come, you can do the Keep Fit thing with us 1 week. Josie, you come the next week and you can do the line dancing with us. So what we do, 1 week line dancing, 1 week fitness. So we walk to a park somewhere in the borough of Lewisham, and people have probably seen us doing our thing in the park. So we did that for 6 weeks. By the end of the 6 weeks, we had 65 ladies. And I tell you, it was frightening because we're in a pandemic. Yeah. So you can imagine trying to navigate the group to the park, you know, and them not thinking that it's some kind of march. Yeah, all these beautiful black women who are just walking, but do you know what I mean? There's power in numbers, isn't it?
Yeah.
So we did that, and then when I said, right, that's it, no, we don't know. Yes, everybody can go back and do it. Oh no, Joe, we wanted to continue. Don't stop, don't stop. I said, you realise we're in a pandemic, innit? You realise, oh no, we all want to walk, we don't want it to stop. What are we going to do on a Saturday now? So it's almost like you're taking some kind of responsibility now for people.
Of course.
Let me say, all right then, we're going to do it for another 6 weeks. So we did it for another 6 weeks. And then, oh gosh, they just don't want it to end. But what I did with that particular model, so we'd walk to a park still in Lewisham, then we would exercise or line dance. And then I've got lots of friends. So I've got a friend who's a coach, one is a nutritionist, one is a public speaker, one who does essential oils. Oh gosh, so much of them. So what I do, I get one of my friends to come and talk to them about something to do with health.
Yeah.
Whether it's nutrition, you know, public speaking, anything that's going to kind of like empower the women. Yeah. So we did that for 6 weeks. That time, me tired and ready to start walking, because you can imagine every Saturday, my 2 little foot, chuk, 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 have them all over the borough walking up and down. So then we got to Black History Month, October. I said, right, we'll have to see how we go then, because the lockdown is coming down harder on us.
Yeah.
So I said, all right then. So, and what I do with each kind of like program, so the first program, they had to get their 10,000 steps in. Okay. Second program was 15,000. Right now they're on 20,000. Yeah. So there was a target, and I make it fun. Yeah. So a lot of the time when they're walking, I'm saying to them, come on, less talking, more walking. Yes. Right. But it's like a community now. It gives them something to look forward to. They come out and they walk.
Excellent. Yeah? Excellent. Thank you very much for that. And we're going to come back to that, and it touches on a lot of the points that Sophia mentioned as well.
And we are the Queen's Walking Group, by the way.
Yeah. Excellent, excellent. And you can put the details in the chat room so we can share it.
I will do.
So, Derek, also an important element of self-care relates to chronic conditions, and of course the work that you're doing around hair health. So if you could spend a bit of time on that, because we know chronic conditions, lupus, sickle cell, you know, taking medication, all of these things have an impact as it relates to self-care, cultural esteem, and the way all of us feel about ourselves. So I wondered if you could just give an overview on what you've been doing, what you do as it relates to that when you're advising women around their maintenance advice.
Yeah, good evening, guys. I would love to start, and of course it says mental health, and self-care. And I think those are very important words. I think self-care resonates with me much more, in that I think the onus is on us to ensure that we look after ourselves. In our culture, there are wonderful epithets such as prevention is better than the cure. But if you've gone to if you reach the stage where your body is demanding the right nutrients, then obviously so it's important therefore to ensure that you boost your autoimmunity to ensure that you become safeguarded from the ills and the pathogens and the toxins out there. It's actually very crucial, because that, to me, in my opinion, also hinges on the fact that if you are well and your well-being is at the right state, then I think so would your hair. So in my opinion, good health is equal to healthy hair. And it must be understood that hair depends on a good health. your hair grows from within and not from without. So if your hair is breaking, therefore, it's damaged or challenged, nothing you do on the outside will make any difference. It will perhaps coat your hair shaft and give one the illusion that the hair is healthy. And I think that's what our people tend to do. They tend to look for ideas outside. It's like everything else. People look for heaven outside. They look for heaven in the sky. It's all within. And so your hair really depends. The health of your hair depends entirely on your well-being. And so it's incumbent upon you, therefore, that you ensure that you self-care. Okay, and the Share Moist philosophy is all about plant-based and intelligent nutrient, and sticking to the products or the ingredients that's indigenous to us. And I can't stress more that you can't use things that your ancestors never used. If your ancestors spent the last 3,000 years using one particular item, then that becomes part of your DNA, and so your DNA understands that. Hence the reason why we focuses on the ingredients that are grown in our own habitat, i.e. Jamaica, Grenada, Ghana, Africa, wherever it may come from, wherever we come from, that these are the things that we focus on: intelligent nutrient, plant-based, organic substances preferably. Keep away from the stuff that's going to harm your hair. And it doesn't just harm your hair shaft, but it will ultimately harm your hair, your scalp, your head. Certain the experts in particular talked about, I think there's a doctor, Dr. Joy, can't remember her last name, but she talked about post-traumatic stress syndrome. And I talked about that in my book, post-traumatic stress syndrome. And the problem for that is we can inherit stress or stresses from our ancestors, assuming the ancestors may have been traumatized. And for instance, we do know that hair breakage and good health can be intergenerational. And I've noticed that in certain of my clients, there are folks here who are consistently, grandmother's hair is this condition, mother's hair is this condition, the daughter's hair is in this condition, and the grandchild is in this condition. So that's intergenerational. And there are folks I know that have been doing for many years whose grandmother's hair is this condition, mother's hair is in this condition. So you have this intergenerational problem. And so if we therefore adopt the concept of self-care, we could break the chain. It's not very difficult. We talked about that in the Bible. Who says if the children eat sour grapes? No, who says if the father eats sour grapes, the children's teeth will be on edge? It means that you could stop break the chain, so to speak, what they call the curse. And the curse simply means if you are, and all this is relevant to hair now. My contribution is about hair and this well-being. And the reason why it's important that we have hair that is good, and I'm using the word good in brackets, because it empowers us. It makes us feel good about ourselves. It just stands to reason. So good hair or healthy hair is intrinsically attached to how, it's part of how we feel. If our hair feels good, and good doesn't, in my opinion, doesn't mean good as being a type. It means that your hair is at its best, is at its optimum, it's at its zenith. So you must endeavor to ensure that you break the curse and focus on your well-being, your self-care, right? Our ancestors talked about food is medicine and medicine is food. And if that is the case, then good food will ultimately give us good hair or healthy hair. And I'm using the word good hair in brackets because I don't think there's such a thing as good or bad hair. But your hair can be bad or in a bad condition if it's not being dealt with properly. In other words, as Rudy just alluded to, if it's not getting expert advice and it's not getting the information and support and guidance from the professionals, right? So your professional hairdresser, if he or she is professional, must endeavor to ensure that every client, as we keep saying in our brand, no hair must be left behind. Every single strand of hair on your head should be in a state of health and well-being, because it makes us feels good. We are told in our culture that our hair grows up into the sky. So if that is the case, it has to reach to the sky in this upward motion. It must be in a healthy state. And thank God we have the natural hair movement now, because that means we are starting all over again. We are very blessed, brother Roots and sisters, is that God has given us an opportunity to start all over again, so we could claim back our hair and move forward with healthy, good hair. And good meaning that hair that's not challenged, that's not broken, that's not exposed to the parabens and the silicones and the sulfates. These are, in my opinion, they're not just carcinogenic, but they do harm to the hair and the well-being of your hair. So it's quite straightforward. Good health is equals to healthy hair. And I think Sophia talked about holistic.
Yeah, there's also the medication. There's the medication and chronic conditions as it relates to.
Right. Thanks for finding me, brothers, indirectly, because if we are challenged, in other words, if we are autoimmunity for some peculiar reason, autoimmunity is a trigger for inflammation. Inflammation, we now know, can exacerbate the problem, your health, and as a result, things like the chronic conditions such as lupus, a condition like even sickle cell, we now thyroid, alopecia, all those are consequence of bad health. And as a result, your hair, being the barometer, will ultimately be bad or in a bad state or in a bad condition.
Yeah, well, that kind of brings us, before we go back to Sophia, CCCA, Derek, if you could just talk about that, take us through that.
Right, so one of the chronic conditions, as we just talked about, is alopecia areata, and there are multiple alopecias: alopecia universalis, alopecia totalis, alopecia areata, and we now have this other one that's called what they used to call pressing comb alopecia. And the reason why it's called the pressing comb alopecia, because for many decades we used to press the hair, and the constant pressing and hitting the scalp with this pressing comb would leave somewhat very fragile part of the top of the crown would go over time. But that is also caused by people who suffer from high blood pressure. High blood pressure, unfortunately, if you're on high blood pressure, ladies, you will have to take medication, and the medication is a calcium blocker. It blocks the calcium from going into the hair shaft, the hair cells, to thus give us long hair. So that's CCCA. I think it's the centrifugal, which means it's in the center. Centrifugal. Anyway, CCCA alopecia, and that alopecia is very much common. It's almost pandemic in our community, and that's because, to a large extent, is the medication that's actually causing that problem. And invariably, the tight pulling, the traction, and obviously the pressing combs. And it's so sad that in our community that people, I think Sophia talked about this before, love your hair, whatever hair type you've got, love your hair. You can't change your hair type overnight. It can't be done. It's tied to your DNA. So why fight with it? So we see sisters fighting, pulling, tugging, stressing, trying to manipulate the hair. We did this for almost 3, 4, 5 decades. It never worked. Nothing happened. I learned to the hair. I'm like Solomon. In fact, no, I'm like Saul now, talking to the Christians, right? I spent so many years damaging people's hair, but guess what? I've realized after 30, 40 years of hairdressing, all that relaxing, all that blow drying, pressing and curling, it really amounts to naught. People tell me, oh, I'm trying to grow my hair. 20 years later, I'm trying to grow my hair. 30 years later, I'm trying to grow my hair. But now we leave it alone because now we've claimed our trust. So for the sisters who are not looking after themselves with regards to poor health, you will suffer alopecia, especially alopecia areata. And as Rudy alluded to just now, and Sophia talked about the CCCA, which is really common at the moment. It's pandemic.
Okay, thanks for that, Derek. So, Sophia, if we can just, very interested in your magnesium, etc. So if you could just give us an overview of that in particular as well, and the benefits of that.
Definitely, definitely. Yeah, I have a passion for magnesium, and it's a natural mineral and a vital mineral. And that's why it's so important for our lifestyle. 80 to 90% of us are depleted in magnesium. Now, it's a mineral that your body releases when you're under any kind of stress. So if you're under physical stress because you're eating meat, fish, and dairy, if you're under emotional stress because you're concerned about your health, if you're taking pharmaceutical medication, then your body is under stress. If your body is acid, it's releasing this magnesium because it's trying to alkaline your body, it's trying to rejuvenate your body, it's trying to relax your body. So the best way of thinking of it is it as the mineral of relaxation, the mineral of rejuvenation. So if 80 to 90% of us are depleted in this mineral, it's about how do we get it back into our bodies? And the best way is via your skin. Because it's a natural relaxant, you're limited how much magnesium you can absorb orally, because it will relax your muscles, and that's just not cute. So it's best to take it up via your skin, either soaking in the bath, a lotion, oil. We do body butters, we do a range. You would normally in nature get magnesium from your leafy greens. You would get it from your fruit, your vegetables, your watermelon, your beans. This is where you would get your magnesium from. We've changed in that our diets have changed. And we think that we're eating food, but in fact, we're eating food like substances. What is like survive? And so we can survive on that, but we can't thrive. So if you imagine, then we think, yes, did we eat today? And just think about what you ate for breakfast, what you ate for lunch, what you ate for supper. Now take away the heat from that. In other words, just tell me what you had that wasn't cooked. Human beings are the only creatures that cook their food. So let's take away the things that wasn't cooked. And you would see that you didn't eat as much as you thought. So you ate a small amount of real food that you could eat in its raw state. And the rest of it was food-like substances because you processed it. Now, once you've processed that food, it's changed in your digestion and you start producing the white blood cells. Your body feels like it's under attack. So Derek was talking about the aspects of how it affects your hair. And this is what's going on. Your body's designed to survive. And so it's going to make sacrifices. And an easy sacrifice to make is going to be your skin and your hair because they're not important to your body. Your internal organs are very important, but your hair and your skin is less important. And so your body is going to turn around and say, we need to alkaline, we need to focus, we need to deal with these acid forming foods, your meat, fish, and dairy. So we need to deal with that. And so we're not going to spend any time focusing on your hair and your skin. That's not important. So you're going to see your hair is going to go gray quicker. Your skin's going to be dry. You're going to find wrinkles. These are signs that your body is acid. So it's about trying to alkaline. Now, the way to get back into balance is to go closer to nature. So Derek's right. You look at the products that you use in your hair. Are they organic? Are they natural? Can you eat those products? This is stuff that your body recognizes. So your body recognizes a mango, a coconut. It understands that because you can have that in its raw state. Once you start cooking and processing, your body's going to be at challenge. So you look at what you're putting on your skin. What chemicals are on that? Because whatever touches the outside of your skin or your scalp is going into your body, and which means that your body's going to have to fight that. And so that's going to turn your body acid. And when you've got an acid body, that's where disease and illness lies. So it's about trying to get your wellness back. It's about moving close to nature. Are you going outside? Are you walking? Are you moving your body? Your body is designed to move. And if you're sitting in front of a computer, sitting in front of the TV all day, then your body's going to give you signs. You're going to have backache. You're going to have muscle aches. You're going to be fatigued inside your muscles because it's designed to eliminate the stress by movement. So the walking group is excellent because what you're doing is that when you're all that tension in your body, you're releasing that tension in a way that you're enjoying. Having that company is enjoyable as well. So it's about looking at, are you being mindful? Are you relaxing? Are you soaking in the bath? Are you taking that time for yourself? All these factors are so important to our physical well-being and our mental well-being as well, because they are all connected, so it's really, really important. But yes, that's why I love magnesium. It rebalances, rejuvenates, and alkalines.
Wonderful.
Okay, great. So were you going to say something there, Derek?
No, I absolutely agree with Sophia, and she talked about the toxicity. The body really does thrive better when it's alkaline, and so does the hair as a consequence. And I think she touched on another great thing about feeding giving your body the right type of food to ultimately ensure that your hair will thrive and grow healthily.
Okay, right, we're going to slight change in direction because but you'll see the connection. So Talk Wolsey is online with us from NHS.
Ooh, and she asked a question. Yeah, she's asked a question.
Right, but okay, so she can still speak as well. Because Wolsey works for NHS Blood and Transplant, NHS BT as we say, and does a lot of work around blood donation, and we'll talk about the importance that our community should donate blood, particularly for our sicklers and for other conditions as well. So Talk Wolsey, if you can, what was your question? And then you can tell us a bit more about your work around blood donation all around the country for the community.
Good evening, everyone. Yes.
Hi, Wolsey.
My question was Sophia, because she was talking about mental health. I was just saying, it's just because today there was a call out on Facebook for us to, especially like in the Bristol area, to help our young Black men who are being caught up in the mental health system. Because, you know, once they go through the door of those institutions, they're injected with all manner of things, and a majority of them, there's no coming back. It's once they get a hold of them, you know, once they're in there, once they come out, though, how can we support them?
There is a project run by Beresford Dawkins in Birmingham, and it was unfortunate he couldn't be on here tonight, otherwise he would have been talking about the work he's doing, which is path breaking. So we'll have to do that another occasion. But just to say that, again, we do have people within the system who are working hard, and our community need to know more about it. We need to raise awareness. Otherwise, we think there's no hope. And there is hope, because we do have some good people, but we just need to keep trying to get the message out. So I understand what you're saying there.
Yeah.
Can I just say that we're Zooming on Saturday, the Queen's Walking Group.
Absolutely.
As you know, we've gone from walking to Zooming, so to speak, and I've got a lot of friends who work in the mental health field, so we felt it was really important to bring that to the platform and have that discussion, but most importantly so that people know there is help out there. So that person that you just spoke about, if they could come on the platform on Saturday, just even for 5 minutes, just to talk about what they're doing and just to signpost, but they need to come early, because you know our platform gets full up really quick.
Yeah, I'll speak with him. And the important thing as well, and I've done a lot of work from a organizational perspective, and there's a need for a shift in our own mindset in ourselves, because if you look at, and I'm talking about African Caribbean culture, if you look at how we treat our own when it comes to learning disabilities, mental health, let's just say that there's much more love, compassion, and humanity that we ourselves could do. And I think this pandemic, again, has uncovered a lot of the mental health issues that we're going to have to address over the next 2 years, some serious ones at all demographic levels. So we've got elders in isolation, we've got people in their middle ages, so to speak, 40 to plus, lost their jobs, thought they had good secure jobs, family breakups and what have you. You've got young people who haven't been able to go to school, haven't been able to access the learning and meet all their friends, the importance of, you know, what school is and social learning. So we've got tremendous challenges to come along the way. But we do have people who are thinking about. I don't want people to think that we don't have anybody thinking about it within our community and trying to work out the best way for ourselves. But it is a challenge, without a doubt.
Can I just commend you
in the short term?
You know, you've got fantastic speakers on. I just wish more people had, you know, tuned in.
It doesn't matter, because we've got 90 odd people views. I never worry about who's not in the meeting. It's those of us who are here.
Yes,
Again, our community is the way it is. That's the reality. We all know what Caribbean culture is like, and we don't listen until it hurts us, and then we say, please God help me. That's just the reality. Right. And as I say, we do have people who volunteer. We touched on it at a previous meeting, and it's only a small amount of us who will volunteer. But when the time comes, a lot of us want help and demand help from the community, and that's the culture. But I don't want to go down that road tonight. No, that's for another conversation. So talk Wolsey, I'd like you to really just talk about because we've only got another 10 minutes or so.
Okay,
it's important that we get this message across, why our community should donate blood. We do donate blood. That's the other thing. I don't want anybody to, again, listen that says that we don't donate blood, and we don't try and get our own community to donate blood. It's not true. We do. There's lots of great initiatives. Bev Bogle's online here. But again, we're not going to go down that road, but just get the facts for this particular platform, why we should donate blood in our own interest.
Well, we have got a bit of good news, because in the last few months, 10% more Black people have donated blood. So
great.
Good, and that's the efforts of a lot of people, especially young people up in London, mainly that area, that have sickle cell, and they're going out and campaigning and encouraging, you know, people from the community to donate blood, because they're the ones who need it. Many of them are having to have blood exchanges 3-4 times a month, and
can you speak up a bit, talk Wolsey? Can you speak up a bit? You're a bit low.
Yeah. Can you hear me now?
Yeah.
Yeah, so the blood that they have, the exchange, needs to come from somewhere. And it's much more beneficial to them if it comes from their own ethnic background. And this is us as a community. So we need to, if you're fit and healthy from the age of 17, step up to the plate and, you know, give a donation of blood, because you are literally saving 3 people's lives. And it's not just blood donation, there's the organ donation and the stem cell as well, because all of those things are lacking in us as a community giving, and all of those things are life-saving things. And if we don't help ourselves, who's going to help us? Our DNA needs to match. So when they have their transfusion, the blood has to match, and it can only come from us. And predominantly sickle cell affects us as a community, you know, and it's an easy half an hour time out of your time. For a woman, it's 3 times a year. For a man, it's 4 times a year they give this pint of blood, and the amount of things it can do. So we need to talk about it, educate, because we need the younger ones coming up and doing it. So we need to educate from young, talk to them, let them understand the need.
I've noticed that generation coming up now, how much they're using social media and the little videos and things recently as well.
Yeah, so yeah, that's the way of getting the word out, is Instagram, Facebook, you know, WhatsApp groups, you know, just talking.
Yeah.
Just have to plant the seed and make them think.
Okay, thanks for that talk, Wolsey. So Sophia, is there anything that you wanted to sound that, and then I'll come to you, Bev. I see you got your hand up. Then come back to you, Joan.
Okay, it was just on the point of mental health, because that's my background. I'm a mental health social worker. That's what I've been in for over 20 years. Prior to that, I was in psychiatric nursing. That's my background, and I teach at Birmingham University. But at on my YouTube, if you find Morgan Genius on YouTube, what I have got on there is some videos regarding stress and well-being. I also have on there what's called a wellness plan, where you can go through and actually you take control of your health. And on there is a free ebook connected with that. So you can go through that where you're looking at what does it take for me to be well? What should I do? What should I avoid? Who should I tell? And so it's about taking that control back. And I also have a private link if people want to know a bit more about specifically Black mental health, because that's what I teach on the mental health course at Birmingham and Derby University. I just teach specifically Black mental health on those two courses. So if she wants to contact me afterwards and find Morgan Genius, I can't hide. You can get hold of me that way, and I can send you that private link as well.
Right, thanks for that.
Okay.
Bev,
You're welcome.
unmute.
Apologize for my late log on. I was having some problem trying to use the iPhone. I just the young lady that spoke before, that is involved with the blood donation and all that campaign. I forgot.
Vasco Stevenson.
Sorry, what is her name?
No, that
Join the meeting.
Warzy.
How many people is sorry?
Talk Warzy.
Okay. Yes, I just wanted to endorse what she said, but one I would like to know, because the percentage, it's important for me to know to date, what percentage of the Black community has she got on record that does donate?
3%.
It's yeah.
3?
Yes.
In fact, the overall population is this country donate about 3%. For years it was 4%, and I think of recent times it dropped down to 3%. And then they were saying within the BAME communities, as they would say, Black, Asian, minority, ethnic, it was around 1%.
Okay, because I did a little research and it's showing 4%.
Yeah.
You see, so this is why I queried it with. I just wanted to know which is the latest. I'll have to. Which one is this one is late 1919 that I looked at. Yeah. Yeah.
No, it was 4% for a long time. Then
yeah.
Maybe it's back to 4% now. Who knows?
Yeah, but that's been 4% for quite a while, because it went up to about 6% about 2 years ago, I believe. Rudy, it went up a bit, then it dropped again. So.
Yeah. Are you talking about the Black population giving blood? Or
yeah.
So it's not that high.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. That's right. The one. Yeah.
Now, Vasco had some challenges getting on earlier on, but he's managed to get here on by phone. Vasco, are you there?
I was having problems too.
Right, he did sound as though he did come onto the platform, but obviously, let me just see. I guess it would help if I let him into the room. Right, this should be Vasco.
Yes, it is, Rudy.
Right, Vasco, the floor's all yours.
Yes, sir.
You've got 7 minutes.
Sorry?
You've got 7 minutes to the end of the program.
Oh my goodness! Is it worth my coming in with 7 minutes to go?
Well, it is really. You can give us your 5-minute overview on your favorite topic as it relates to self-care.
As it relates to self-care.
Yeah, as it relates to self-care. Yeah, give us 5 minutes of your wisdom.
Okay. If I have any left after today. Self-care and management, yes. It is something that we don't pay a lot of attention to, and really when it comes to self-care, we have to look not only at our diets and lifestyle, we have to look at whether we are stressed out, We have to look at whether we have toxic friends around us and toxic situations. And all of that, to my mind, combines to make what self-care really is. In this day and age, of course, we have lots of challenges, and we have to be very mindful of everything we put in our bodies. We have to be mindful in even in our thoughts. And if we begin on the physical plane, we are then talking about what we eat and drink. As ethnic people, we should be eating a lot of citrus fruits because they get mucus out of our body, and mucus, of course, creates a lot of cancer in the body. And first thing in the morning when we get up, we should have a cup of preferably green tea, which has anti-cancer properties. It has a compound called EGCG, which has proven anti-cancer qualities. We should add some lemon juice to that and a little bit of perhaps cider apple vinegar or half a teaspoon of bicarbonate of soda. And that sets the liver up for the daily cleanse, because as you know, the liver and the kidneys are the two most important organs when it comes to detoxification and good health. And if either one of them happens to be compromised, then there's a possibility that we may start to suffer from some degenerative disease. So that sets the liver up. The bicarbonate of soda also has a positive effect on the kidneys. And as you may know, the body makes its own bicarbonate of soda through the kidneys. And sometimes there can be a deficiency there if the kidneys are not working properly. So that sets up the day. And after breakfast within half an hour. And that breakfast should really be something filling that should keep us feeling full throughout the day, so that we don't have to eat between meals or, snack, because snacking is one way of putting on extra weight, which of course is not conducive to good health. Because when you have extra weight on, you're then susceptible to, firstly, diabetes, which brings on high blood pressure, heart problems, kidney problems, pancreatic problems, and of course, joint problems. So all of this is the physical aspect of self-care and management. But if we look at it from an esoteric perspective now, we look at the non-physical aspect of healthcare management, which is stress, how we relate to, say, something like Alzheimer's, and how we, relate to the world around us. And we should be meditating at least 15 minutes per day to de-stress ourselves, because we are living very stressful lives, especially with this COVID-19 and all the related issues with that. So we should be living lives as stressless as possible. And meditating, for me, is one way to de-stress. So 15 minutes a day, and that should set you up for the day. And of course, when you go out, then you're more balanced and equipped to handle any of the challenges for the day, except one that has to do with technical things like computers and servers when they rub you up the wrong way. Right. So that is part of it. And of course, we have to drink clean water as well. One of the tips about drinking water, because our bodies are about 75% water, one of the tips is, they used to say you should drink 8 pints of water per day.
Yeah.
That is not correct. You can actually drink about 1 liter of water per day, even in the hottest of weather. But allied to that, you should then be eating certain fruits and vegetables. For instance, watermelon, pineapple, cucumbers, radishes, all of those fruits and vegetables contain what is known as structured water, or EZ water. That's what we call the juice. And that is more hydrating, according to recent science, than H2O, because that gets into the cells and hydrates them better. And of course, they also come with vitamins and minerals, which H2O hasn't got. So that has to do with self-care and management. And if you can get more people looking at their bodies that way, and these are very simple things you can do. It's not rocket science.
Great. Vasco, as always, words of wisdom, as I said earlier on. And
But let me apologize for the technical glitch and the fact that I've been out of the program most of the evening. That's a sincere apology from me.
no problem.
I would have hoped that I could have contributed a bit more.
Yes, but you'll be back next week, next Wednesday.
Next week, Wednesday.
Yeah, we've got the prostate health with Dr. Frank as well.
Yeah, okay, thank you.
So, all right, thanks a lot for that. Right, we're just about to the end. So I'm just gonna, Sophie, your last point, then no, let me do it around the other way. I'm gonna go to Joan, just to let us know about Saturday's event, and then I'll ask Sophia just to close the show for us. Joan, you're on mute.
Right, you can hear me now. Okay, so we've gone from walking to Zooming. We've had quite a few successful events. We've done Queens, Black Hair Rocks, which was really good. Saturday gone we had Queens, It's Only the Menopause. And this week we've got Let's Talk About Mental Health. So we've got a fantastic panel, which Rudy, you're part of. We've got a GP coming on. We've got an occupational therapist. We've got a mental health nurse coming on, and we've got somebody else coming on what she does. But we've got a fantastic set of panelists coming on, and really just talk about mental health, how it's affecting our community, signposting, strategies, what to look out for, and how to try and manage yourself as well, in this current climate that we're in of a pandemic.
Right, and for those who want to sign up, can you just tell them?
Yes, so if you want to sign up, it's going to be on Eventbrite from about maybe 1-2 o'clock, the early hours of Wednesday/Thursday morning.
Right.
It's the tickets fly on Eventbrite. It's all free.
Yeah.
So Saturday gone, we had 300 people on the platform, and it's probably going to be a crazy number again like that. Yeah. So the events are really, really popular.
Great. All right. Well done. Thanks for that. And Sophia, to close off the show.
Yeah, I think it's been an amazing day today that we're actually talking about health and well-being. It's important. I think what we can see is that there are services out there. There are people doing positive things in the community, and we can turn around and have some choices and seek those people out. I think it's important for us to understand all those different elements.
Oh,
we can't do things physically. We can do things. Can read, and we can avoid away, and of course get your magnesium in.
Great, thank you very much, and thank you everyone for attending, and good night. See you again soon. We'll be back live again 6:30 tomorrow.
How can I get in touch with Sophia?
Yeah, I'm easy to find. If you put Morgan Genius, so it's okay. Morgan and Genius, like genius, but without the I, Genius, and you'll find me. So on Facebook, Instagram, and on YouTube. So YouTube is probably a very good resource. Yes.
I'll put Sophia's number on your WhatsApp there.
Yeah, I'll call you about what I want to speak to her about.
Okay. All right. Great. So good night. And thank you very much, everyone.
Thank you very much. I'm really glad I got the
and take self-care.
Yeah. And I've got my ticket, I think, for Wednesday already.
Great. All right. So. See you tomorrow.
Love yourself, everybody.
Thank you. See you
Thank
tomorrow.
you.
Bye-bye.
Wonderful.
Bye. Bye.